All right, we're in for another treat here. Please help me in welcoming our Secretary of State, Alex Padilla. He's only been in office 2 minutes and he's already making changes. He's already trying to make voters empowered in this state. And I know he's traveling to all different states to see what legislation's working out so that we can concentrate on voter turnout instead of voter registration. So that'll be made easier and people will be working on that. He is also the first Latino. He made history in last year's election as the first Latino Secretary of State. So proud of him. Please help me welcome Secretary of State Alex Padilla. Good looking too.
When a poor girl shines and a rich girl cries, and the clown is wearing no makeup, you got to get up and run. You got to get up and stride. You got to put on your pride into making it.
Hello, Democrats. Good afternoon, Democrats. All right. Thank you, Democrats. I want to thank everybody here today, not just for your ongoing commitment to the Democratic Party, but for all of your hard work this last election, and especially for those of you who worked so hard to get out the vote. And so I'm going to make my plug right off the top to fund more GOTV. I hope you too will join DEM 2016, the monthly giving program for the California Democratic Party. It's not just important to get out the vote for getting out the vote's sake. It's important to get out the vote because I know you agree with me when I say I believe there is power in numbers. And getting more people out to vote is key to building the inclusive economy that we've been talking about today. I stand before you today as California's new Secretary of State. 131 days ago, I stood in the Secretary of State's building in Sacramento and I raised my right hand to take the oath of office. My wife Angela was right beside me. Our boys were crawling all over us. And right behind me were my parents, who came to California as immigrants in the 1960s. For 40 years, my dad worked as a short order cook. For 40 years, my mom cleaned houses. They raised 3 kids. They sent us all to college. They even sent me to MIT. And on January 5th of this year, they stood right beside me as I was administered the oath of office by Governor Brown, becoming not just the California Secretary of State, but as Alex Rooker said, the first Latino Secretary of State in California in more than a century. And I want you all to take a brief time out and just think about that. In one generation, my family's gone from being the cooks and the house cleaners to the California Secretary of State. Only in America. Only in America, but in many ways, really only in California is that really possible. You know, this year also marks the 50th anniversary of the Federal Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act that protects the rights that women fought for in the suffrage movement, rights that people marched and died for in the civil rights movement, rights that men and women of the military to this day pay the ultimate sacrifice to protect, rights that have given more people more power and more opportunity in the African American community, in the Asian and Pacific Islander community, in the Latino community, the LGBT community, voting rights that have made it possible for a new generation of leaders. But across the country today, these same voting rights are under attack. There are bills to restrict voting rights in dozens of states across the country. You know it all too well. In Florida, in Texas, in North Carolina, where a gun permit gets you access to the ballot booth, but a student state university ID does not. I promise you, as Secretary of State, I will not let that happen here in California. But I don't just have pledges here today, I have challenges for us as well. See, I think we ought not just play defense when it comes to voting rights. I say we go on the offense. Let's not just defend the Voting Rights Act, let's work to advance it. Let's counter those who want to roll back the clock on voting rights by increasing civic participation. So that's why my first policy initiative this year is a bold proposal to systematically register voters. It's called the New Motor Voter, and it's a bill that I'm working on with San Diego's Assemblymember Lorena Gonzalez. And I think the idea is pretty simple. Let's register eligible voters automatically when they're applying or renewing their driver's license at the DMV. Do you know how many people we could register? Work with me to pass the New Motor Voter in California, and we can register 6 million new voters. Add them to the voting rolls. But let's not just add them to the voting rolls. Imagine with me this. Imagine the power of 6 million new voters. Stronger than any lobbyist, louder than any special interest group. This is how we counterpunch the Koch brothers and the secret money in politics. This is how we fight back against the GOP leaders in Washington who don't think twice about giving billions away in corporate tax breaks, but won't support a living wage for working people. And it's the key, friends, it's the key to the more inclusive economy that levels the playing field for working Californians. Now, of course, this is America. We value freedom of speech, and people do have the right to not register to vote. But I say, let's make those who don't want to participate in our democracy have to do the work. Let's remove every obstacle we can that's keeping eligible Californians from being able to cast a ballot. I'll take the applause on that one, right? You know, when I was growing up, I played Little League Baseball. And as I got older, got to high school, and I played for San Fernando High School, go Tigers. And during the season in high school, we had 2 games a week, one home, one away. Some of the opposing high schools were near my neighborhood, others weren't. But it was during those bus rides to other schools and other communities that I began to take notice. Some neighborhoods were safer than the one I grew up in. Some schools were better taken care of than the schools I went to. Some communities had more investment and job opportunities than mine. And as time went by, I realized politicians spend more time and more money where the voters are. And it became very clear to me, if we don't speak up, we don't get heard. But when we do speak up, and when we vote, we can help level the playing field. See, I believe this inclusive democracy isn't just the right thing to do, it is the means to a more inclusive economy. Because when we vote, we're not just voting for names that appear on the ballot, we're voting for our economic future. We can vote for equal pay for equal work. We can vote to raise the minimum wage. See, I'm the product of a union household. My dad is a retiree of Unite Here. The food we ate, the clothes on our back, our health care, all made possible because of a good union contract. My commitment to labor is not a slogan, it's who I am. And I'm committed to helping pass a minimum wage initiative in 2016. Are you with me? And of course, when we vote, we can vote for jobs. I'm not just the chief elections officer in California, I'm also the chief business officer. My office is step one for every entrepreneur. I pledged during my campaign to register new businesses within 5 business days, and we are. So we're making it easier for small businesses to get up and running, like the many solar companies that are helping grow our clean energy economy. And we're putting the welcome mat out for California job creators and innovators. And of course, when we vote for education so that every child can have a quality school and get the education and training they need to work in the new economy. This kind of opportunity, clap for education, absolutely. See, this kind of opportunity is all my parents ever wanted for me and all our parents ever wanted for us. The real opportunity to create a better life. So you can count on me as Secretary of State to make California the national leader in voting rights. I'll fight those who try to suppress our votes, but I don't want to just play defense. I want to go on offense to expand our rights, to register more voters, and to increase turnout so that the voices of all Californians can be heard loud and clear. And if I leave you with one message today, it's this: an inclusive economy starts with an inclusive democracy. And the road to a better economy for every working Californian starts with voter registration and getting out the vote. Thank you very much.